Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you doing? Hopefully, you're having a good day so far. It is Friday, so what does that mean? It's another episode of MillenniYell with Billy and Mel. We're here, guys. We're here to yell with you. Today, we got a really interesting topic because it pertains to us millennials so well, and it's brand, right? And so we're going to be talking about, I think, about 20 different brands that was voted on by millennials that are the most influential brands to us. But also we're going to get into why brand's important, maybe some things if you're not a millennial, right? You might be owning your own business. Mel might have some tips and some tricks for you to market to us, right? Some do's and some don'ts, right?
Yeah.
But guys, if you're jumping on right now, please make sure you comment who you are, where you're from. We'd love to give you guys a shout out. And if you're going to be jumping on the replay, make sure you do the same thing. And if you're listening to us on one of our many avenues to get this information, to get get content, please make sure you share this with somebody else. So, but anyways, let's see how old Mel is doing. Mel, how are you doing?
Old Mel. Good old Mel. I feel like I've said this before, but I blink and we're here at another podcast. It feels like the weekend went by quick and the week went by quick, but you know, feeling productive and looking forward to the weekends and, you know, had a lot going on. And actually yesterday during my Let's Hit Networking group, Zoom, I was the speaker, and ironically, not knowing our topic because we just sometimes make up our topics, you know, whatever. It was actually a lot about brands and branding, and I think it'll be great to share a little bit, you know, from my perspective and obviously, you know, on the design side and whatnot, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I am too, because I mean, as millennials, we are so brand loyal, right? We love our brands, and we will go out of our way. We will wait in line for things to release, right? We will wait. And it's not just the brand, right? But it's also the mission statement behind the brand. It's the purpose. It's what
so
doing.
much.
Yeah, doing. And I know you can speak to that, a lot of that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very well documented. I think everyone knows that millennials are very loyal to their brands. In the most generation, I think more than 50% of us are very loyal. And, you know, we'll talk a little bit about it, that I think it's earned too. Just like any loyalty in relationships, work, you know, significant others, friendships, you got to earn our loyalty, I think, too, when it comes to the brands.
Oh, I mean, that's a perfect analogy. I mean, it's just like relationships, right? It's like the brands take the time to build a relationship with us, and we're raving fans, right? Like, for instance, like you'll go to the grocery store and instead of, you know, I know like my parents and the parents probably before us, they didn't really care about name brands, right? It was just like whatever's cheapest, right?
Right.
But like even though like I'll go to the store and I like, you know, there's many sports drinks out there, but I like Gatorade, right? So I'm going to buy Gatorade. I'm not going to buy Powerade, right? Because I associate with that brand.
Sure, and I think it's following through with the branding and a lot of the claims that, you know, the marketing claims and things that the brand delivers and their promises, but you know, you made a good point about the Gatorade. I don't want to get too ahead of our list here. You know, I don't want to be putting stuff out there either. I don't think this is on the list, so hopefully it won't be. But talking about brands and name brands, you know, I was hesitant to go to Aldi because it is off-brand, and you know, you're not really sure, and you're a little skeptical when you first think about a company and things may be cheaper. Then you don't know the brand names because you trust those brand names and you trust the quality. But when you find out that Aldi is owned by Whole Foods, and we know the Whole Foods brands, and we know the natural, you know, and a lot of the things that they do, then you trust Aldi because you trust Whole Foods. And it's interesting because the name brand has gone out the window for me with that, because the quality has been great. And I now trust all of their brands that they have, and it's their own brands. And that's kind of what it comes down to. I think we'll get into that a little bit, but that's a good example, I think.
That's a perfect example.
With the loyalty and the trust after you.
Yeah, Aldi earned your trust, right?
Yeah, I love Aldi's. And their aisle of shame that gets me every time.
I always try to steer clear of that aisle with me and Megan. It's always like, hey, you want to go down this aisle? And I'm like, you already know the answer. It's no.
Like, oh, please. I start in the aisle of shame. Let's not get off topic here, but let's be honest. I literally go down aisle 4 first, and then I circle back to aisle 1. But like, Alex is the same way. He's like, no, you don't need anything.
Yeah, it's like a moth to a flame, right? It's just like you just start turning, you don't know why, you're just headed there. What's down this aisle?
It's funny.
So I think it's a great opportunity, because what we're going to do today, guys, is for those that are going to be listening to us, we are actually going to pop up on the screen here. It's from Business Insider. So it's a great website just for anything business related, any kind of thing that you're looking for related to that. But they had posted a top 100 list, but we're going to go through the top 20, because if we go through all 100, we're going to be here forever.
We've got work to do today.
We've got things to do. So, but we're going to share, and what we're going to do is we're going to pop them up on the screen, and we're going to talk about these brands, why they're important, whether or not we agree with that one making a top 20. So without further ado, I'm going to pop it up on the screen. So give me 1 second. All right. So the very first brand that we have is Disney. Coming in at number 20 is Disney. Mel, what are your first thoughts?
So I think 100% Disney, and I think it goes back to something that I was reading about brands. It was called like heritage. I don't know if that's the best word, but we have known Disney since we were a child. Okay, we are loyal. When we talk about the loyalty and the stuff, is because we know as a kid, you know, this is something that we grew up with. This is our friend. This is our family. Disney was our babysitter. Not really, but you know what I mean.
It kind
of. The Disney princesses and all the things that, and all these movies. I know Frozen's newer, but look at the brand that even our kid. You know, I don't have kids. You don't have kids, but our friends' kids. People who grew up watching it, their kids.
Yeah.
You know, oh, sorry. I'm blanking. I saw my screen went off. I didn't hear anything. I'm so sorry, guys. You know, it's a generational brand. I mean, obviously. What do you think?
I mean, I love Disney for the simple fact that if you think about it, like, it's one of the only brands that has brands inside of the brand, right?
Oh.
Like you have people of different, like, there's just so many brands that people are just brand loyal to within Disney, right? Like the different movies, the different characters, the different parks. Like there's even brands, the brands of parks. Like there's people that only love Disneyland, and there's only people that love Disney World, right? Like one's in California, one's on the East Coast, right? And then there's also people that are brand loyal to the Disney cruise. Like they'll only go to Disney cruise. Like
we could have a whole podcast. We could yell all day about Disney. Like I said, there's Disney wedding, you know, Disney themed weddings. My sister's and the Star Wars. I mean, you look at Star Wars is Disney. No, I mean,
I think Disney owns the rights to Star Wars.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So even you think of that brand.
Yeah.
Wow, we could go on forever.
I mean, personally, I think Disney's not high enough on this list. Because I've seen a couple of these, you know, I did some research, went through some of the top 20. In my opinion, I don't know how you feel, but I feel like Disney's a little disrespected here.
They need to be.
I think they're at least a top 10. But we'll get into the top 10 here in a second. But you know, that's what I love about Disney is it's just like you said, no matter where, pretty much everybody that's going to be watching this grew up with Disney, right, in some form or fashion.
Right.
And it always, no matter what, like you're watching a Disney movie and it could be like from your childhood and it immediately brings back memories, right? It immediately sparks something in your mindset.
Of course, we're never going to, I mean, we always bring up the movies that we watched as children, but it's also the dolls, the sheets, the clothing. I mean, we had, you know, when you loved a movie, you know, you had everything. You had to have everything from it. So it's the brand, but it's also all the products that come along with it. I mean, even with the Frozen coming out, oh, Disney fan, yeah, Danielle, that. Oh, and Aldi nerd too. I see that in the back end. Sorry. Good. Gotta love my Aldi fans too. But yeah, I mean, there's so much behind Disney. It's and the history behind it, and even Disney World, like you said, I can't. We could go over hundreds of brands
within Disney. Yeah, I mean, like I said,
yeah. So the brand itself, it's like.
Yeah, we could spend the next 25 minutes just talking about Disney. So, but we gotta get to the list, right?
Okay, next one.
Next one. Let's see what the next one is. So this actually, the website's a little messed up. It says 16. It's actually 19. So, but number 19 coming in, and we've all have worn this brand at one point or another, regardless of where you came from. American Eagle, not coming in at number 19, American Eagle. And it's actually headquarters in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Look at that. I didn't know that until just reading it.
I didn't know that either.
So, but I mean, what's your initial reaction with American Eagle?
I used to be obsessed with American Eagle. You know, I think it was more of something when I was more in high school and maybe outside high school, but it's interesting because this is a brand that started in the mall, in the shopping mall. And this was a brand that was huge with a retail, you know, and now that things are going more digital, I haven't been to a mall in forever. I don't know. When was the last time you were at a mall?
I can't remember.
So I don't shop there. I don't shop there anymore, but I'd be curious to see how many people have transitioned to the online shopping of American Eagle, because I definitely was there all the time in high school. Sure,
I was gonna say, like, I mean, pretty much growing up in high school and even into college, like this was the brand to wear, right? It was like, especially like for guys in polos, right? I mean, they had every color imaginable.
Yeah,
cargo shorts. They had, and not to mention, like, it's the very first store I remember being like literally punched in the face with perfume or cologne as you walked in.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it was always just like, yeah, it just brings back memories of like high school, especially wearing that stuff. I don't know if I have any.
And the Eagle.
Yeah.
You know, the Eagle.
Yeah. I don't know if I have any more
shirt.
American Eagle, or when the last time I've been in an American Eagle. And that might be because I think that's what's going to be. I have a problem with this brand is that as millennials get older, this was kind of our brand, right, of clothes. It's going to be interesting to see how they move with us.
Well, and maybe they're targeting. Yeah, I mean, maybe they're targeting still younger. You know, maybe they're still targeting the younger generations by the Aerie here. You see in the picture here, that was like their girl version, right?
Yeah.
So I'm pronouncing it like Aerie. And I think that was a little bit after I stopped shopping there was when they came out with that. But I definitely think that as the brand, so like everyone wanted to work there in high school, you know, in the mall, like that was the cool place to work. And and also I think that a lot of other brands came out afterwards or weren't as known, and it almost not necessarily was a copy, but something very similar that they maybe I don't know, I have to look at the timelines, but I feel like for me, that was one of the first ones too.
Yeah, we might have a couple, people that are diehard, American Eagle fans on here and might be able to tell us, what that timeline was like. But let's definitely move along, right? So let's get to the next one. So what's the next one? So we got 18, Jordan.
Oh.
So Jordan is a brand obviously within a brand, right? Nike brand. They make the Air Jordan. But I mean, I used to work in a shoe store, okay, when I was in college. I worked in the mall, did not work at American Eagle. I worked in a shoe store. And when Jordans would release, it was crazy. It was crazy. Oh. Especially like if it was like a retro, which I'm giving you guys some knowledge. This is a retro Jordan, retro 3. But anyway,
glad you know this.
But anyways, but yeah, it's such a crazy brand that people have a cult-like following that doesn't matter how much these shoes cost, like 200, 250 bucks a pop, right? And people might not even wear them ever. They'll just keep them in a box, right?
So, yeah, they may collect, but let's the name behind the brand, obviously.
Yeah. I mean,
who's gonna, it's also, it's because Michael Jordan, you know what I mean? It's like it's his name, it's his brand that is also behind that brand of the shoe, right? I mean,
of course,
it's almost like you said, a brand within a brand as far as Nike. You kind of got twofold, but then you got Michael Jordan, and it's like, bam, you're done. Even just him.
Yeah.
Even just him.
Well, I believe that that I remember watching a documentary on it that Nike was in fights with Adidas and some other brands that we'll talk about, but it really put Nike on the map getting Michael Jordan. And so just as much as, Michael needed Nike definitely needed, Michael Jordan. And so, I mean, like I said, I've seen people line up for days to get a brand new Jordan that comes off the shelf. So
yeah, well, and I think that's something that I wanted to get into, even like we were talking about heritage. I read a lot about brand. I know a lot with branding and brands, obviously, but I think with this too, you can bring up the community and what stands behind brands and the philosophies and the purpose behind brands, because there's such a commitment to the community that Michael Jordan brings, and the brand Jordan, in the brand itself, there's so much behind it. I mean, we could have podcasts for days just getting into each brand and what they do. But I mean, everyone should look up and know. I mean, research if you want to go into all these brands, but there's so much behind them, and they,
yeah. No, I mean, when I think, like you were saying, like it brings up community, but I think a lot about the feelings that I have when I look at a brand, and one of the feelings that I get, right, that I think a lot of people gravitate towards, especially with the Jordan, is that it's just like when you think of Michael Jordan, you think of winning, right? You think of prestige, you think of that. So, like people want to.
Well, basketball too. Basketball players connect with this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like there's basketball players that are in the league right now that wear Michael Jordan's shoes, right? So it's a cult. It's not even just a millennial thing. I mean, this is culture. This is worldwide. This is like reaches beyond the United States in basketball. It reaches far beyond this, and so awesome brand. So moving along, what do we got next? Oh wow! So we're at what, 17, and we're at Forever 21. So I can't really speak highly on this brand because every time I've been in this store, it's probably like 98% women's clothes. There's a very small section of guys' clothes. And it just never spoke to me, this brand. I get why people voted it into number 17. Again, going back to Disney, do you think Forever 21 is better than Disney? I don't know.
No, these numbers may be a little off, right?
Yeah.
But I have to show Danielle's comment too, because it was about American Eagle, and she said, is A really popular with millennials? We are in our 30s. And I agree, because we talked about that too. Did they really stay with us? Did they stay relevant? Was it something that was just maybe such a huge brand for us prior to our age now? And I wanted to bring that up because I think that resonates with the Forever 21 brand, because obviously the idea is that you're forever 21, that you can still wear these clothes that are really for 21-year-olds. Now, when we're I feel like it came out late high school, early college for me. I'm trying to remember the years, but I think that there are things that I still would wear from there in a sense, but I also feel they're targeting a certain age group. and we're not going to be 21 forever. So we can't always dress that way. I think you can, but you know, for me, it's a way of, you know, still dressing fashionably but classy and in a certain way. I think as the brand as a whole, because I did shop there a lot, you know, especially when it was when I was living in Philadelphia. They have their stores on Walnut Street. They have huge stores. The brand for me, they're inexpensive for the most part. At least it started out to be. It was a very affordable brand. So I think that it's fashionable and it's affordable. It's some of it is, you know, looking like higher end, but you don't pay the price. So, but then you have the quality sometimes isn't that good either.
I don't remember the quality being that great.
I think you kind of look at the brand as you can get some really great fashionable items for a great price, and you know it might not last but long, you know, but you get it. It's a great piece for especially for people that don't like to wear stuff over and over. But yeah, they've held on for a while. Again, you look at transitioning to online because of stores. Everyone has to battle the Amazon and the online. You know, a lot of stuff is going online now.
Yeah, and just another store that goes hand in hand with malls, right? I don't ever remember seeing a freestanding Forever 21, right? They've always been.
Oh, they're yeah, like in cities and shop. You know, I would just say you would think about it being sure. I mean, yeah, I think I enjoyed Forever 21 for a while, but now at 35, I don't as much. But I think that they'll cater to the people that you know, are that turnover in ages as well. Yeah.
So moving along, let's see what we got. So number 16 coming. It's our first technology piece, right? Or not even technology, but just like non-clothes. The last couple have been clothes. This Ford comes in at number 16, guys. And so, I mean, when it comes to cars, I'm not as, I guess for me, I'm not as brand loyal. You know, I don't really have a specific brand of car. You might feel differently. I know my wife does. She's very loyal to a brand, and it's actually in here, and we'll actually get to that here in a second. But I mean, when you think of cars, right, you think of Ford because that's like one of the first cars, right? So I get why I made
American, sure, Model T Ford, right?
Yeah, Mustang, right? You think about those things.
And look at everything that went through Detroit and.
I said Ford wins big. Ford's wins big with millennial moms category. So
it's true. So everyone that needs to know here, my first car that I've ever purchased, I was leasing, is a Ford. Okay, so this is funny. I don't know. I do like it. I'm not. I haven't never been loyal with vehicles in a sense. My dad and my grandfather actually was a VP for General Motors overseas, and you know, I talked about that. Why he lived in Japan for 16 years. So we had Chevy and GMC discounts, family discounts. So my family and I were more loyal to that Chevy GMC. As I got older, it wasn't necessarily as much, but I had really loved my Passat, and you know, I loved the Volkswagen brand. Again, Audi brand as well, but yeah, I think there's definitely in America, Ford is, especially for trucks, very much a loyal brand.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like trucks, I think of Mustang. I think of, you know, like a sports utility vehicle, like the Explorer. That was very popular vehicle growing up when I was a kid, and I remember seeing a lot of those. So Ford definitely needs to be on the list. So that's a good one. Let's see what the next one is. Whoa, guys, number 15, cracking the top 15, Victoria's Secret. I mean, this is wow. I would have never have guessed that Victoria's Secret was headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. That I did not see.
But look at this, in the lingerie market, it controls, 61.8% of the market share. That's interesting. I know guys, I feel like in like my early 20s, throughout my 20s, that guys would get together and watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show to see the models. And their brand, it's interesting because they're not just a lingerie brand. I think that, they obviously had gotten into clothing, but they really, it's all about the models too. And I think that their brand and Victoria's Secret model, that affected the model industry even. And with women's, I don't want to say body images, but that was a huge thing, that the brand of Victoria's Secret, it comes along with these models and the wings, becoming a Victoria's Secret model. And I want to be a Victoria's Secret model. It's not just a model, it's a Victoria's Secret model.
Yeah.
And I think that they, going back to the stores, it's an experience when you go in there, obviously. And they're not cheap, but you pay for the name and the quality. I mean, the quality of some of the items, are definitely what you pay for, but I think it's the label. It's definitely the label and the brand that you're paying for as well.
Well, I mean, I know of this day in Victoria's Secret stores just because I'm married, right? There's a specific day that women go crazy in Victoria's Secrets. It's the semi-annual whatever sale.
Oh, right.
And it's like pandemonium in there. People are like fighting and elbowing because they're trying to get these deals. Because, like, it is expensive. A lot of the garments are expensive, but you talk to most women and they're like, they're the best brand. They
last long. Yeah. The bras and stuff, like, not to get we're talking about all this, but they last a really long time. And I'm in the same way. I mean, I think there's sales, 5 for $25, and it comes along with the brand. Everyone knows, and the quality is there, and you stand behind your quality, you're going to come back every time. You need more, 5 for $25, 5 for $25. You keep going back.
Man, there was a specific scent that Victoria's Secret had back in the day. That was like,
yes,
it was ridiculous. Like, anytime a girl wore that, you're like, oh, are you wearing like Victoria's Secret? Like, well, I can't remember. Right. Well, I can't remember the name of it, but oh man, what is it?
I'm gonna look it up. But it's also, you're right. It's not just the I'm not just saying it's the lingerie and the quality and that making women feel sexy, making them feel good, right, in their skin. I think it's also about intimacy, and they promote all of this. There's so much behind it, and then also you have the fragrances. It's like they have. I mean, think about it, that's a huge brand. There's a lot behind it, and the idea of, oh, what is that, a Victoria's Secret? I'm just like things like you see a little bit, and you have the name, and then they came up with pink, which was their It's kind of like a younger, but also a sporty, maybe. So they came up with that whole brand, and that's nuts. They licensed that with colleges and sports teams, and that became a huge brand in itself. Was the pink, the offset, to target more younger or sportier. Yeah. I
mean, anytime I was gonna say, anytime a brand can target somebody's emotions like that, like you said, like when you walk into that store, like I said, I've been in the store plenty of times. It's all, the first couple times I've walked into that store, it's awkward just because there's really nothing for a guy to kind of look at. But like from the standpoint of how that brand makes women feel, like that makes them feel, like you said, sexy, powerful, all those types of things. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, guys. We're getting to the good ones now. I think this one's a little low. I think this one's a little low on the list, on the numbers. But coming in at number 14, we have Starbucks. So
Starbucks, baby.
Guys, I mean, people will drive miles for Starbucks, and they'll pass coffee shops. They have coffee at their house, but
sure.
I mean, people will flock to this thing, right?
Sure. I mean, that brand is, the Starbucks name, and just having that cup in your hand for people. It is, I think millennials also, looking back at, at us and what we like and what we want to do. It's Starbucks has become such a social media brand for people to show off that they have their cups and show off what they're doing, right? By drinking Starbucks coffee. And it is a little pricier than you would at a cup somewhere else or making it at your home. But I think it's a lifestyle brand too, when you think about it.
Oh,
I don't know. I said yesterday in one of my things at Le Tip, I said PSL. I was promoting somebody else's business, and I said, does anybody know what PSL is? You know, and these are a little bit older folks, but PSL. I go, Starbucks, anybody? PSL? And somebody went, pumpkin spice latte. And it's so funny because look at that craze of the pumpkin spice latte that even has initials PSL that most people do now. But it became pumpkin spice latte boots and sweaters. You know, it's like the girls, all the memes and all the like the typical fall that you hate, obviously, one of your pet peeves.
Yep.
But they marketed this whole PSL thing to that crowd, that girl, you know, that everyone that loves it, and they're not ashamed. They'll say, I'm not ashamed of it, but that helped push their brand too, is making these little offsets in a sense of just look at PSL, pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah, and then I want to take a different avenue, right? I remember when we're looking through some of the things job-wise that millennials love, and it's collaboration, right? It's it's not always having an office to go to, and I think with Starbucks, it's a lot of community, right? And like you go in there, you can spend time, do some work, right? And it's like being part of a club almost when you go.
Yeah, like sure. I mean, before I really got this whole workspace here set up, I was sitting at the Starbucks in Hershey every 3 days, every couple days.
Yeah.
You know, so it's where you can work. It's free Wi-Fi. I enjoy the vanilla lattes, but yeah, millennials, like more than half of millennials spend more than, $4 on a cup of coffee, and it's Starbucks. I mean, I enjoy going to local coffee shops, but you also know that it's going to be consistent. When you look at it, it's a chain, obviously, but I mean that it should be consistent everywhere you go. So if you do love it, you're getting the same thing at each place too.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
They have a lot behind their culture. We talked about company culture a couple weeks ago, and they something that I really like about theirs is that I watched somewhere that they make all of their people that even when they come through as an executive level, they make them go through the kind of the whole ranks of working at a retail store, and so that they know that of the experience that it is that every single person's having. They kind of put them through the ranks, if you say, whatever. And I think that's interesting. And they have a lot behind their mission and, other things with company culture, but that's something that's important to millennials. So can't forget it.
Yep. So let's move on. Let's see. Number 13 is Pepsi. So I am not a big soda drinker anymore, but when I did drink soda a lot, I guess my parents would always buy Pepsi. And there's another brand that we won't talk about quite yet, because I'm sure that one's coming up. But in different parts of the country actually are brand loyal to that specific beverage. So, and so, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about Pepsi. Like I said, it's interesting to know that it's from New York, I guess. And so what do you think?
I mean, I think it's an international brand, which it's known around the world, which is great. I unfortunately am not a Pepsi brand fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you either sometimes you get to these products that have two of the equally well-known brands, if you'd say, and you either are or you aren't. You're either one or the other. And maybe it comes down to the brand, but maybe it's also just, I don't know, the taste, or I don't know. But I think Pepsi is huge, and there's so much that they're sponsor, that they are all over the world, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, in this industry, in the beverage industry, there's two juggernauts, right? There's Pepsi. There's the other one we'll get to here in a second, but just to kind of tease you a little bit. But yeah, so like I said, I get why Pepsi's on there. It's a very, I don't know, maybe not necessarily with millennials, but I understand brand-wise, it's a big brand, right?
Right.
Let's see. Number 12, Nintendo.
What?
So Nintendo. I
had Nintendo, man. Nintendo was it. I had the original Nintendo.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I feel like our generation as millennials, right? We really grew up and like saw how the gaming or video gaming industry has changed, right? So obviously it was Nintendo, and then, like I said, we got to see the evolution to what it is today, where it's like, I mean, you would think that this was, you would look back 10 years ago and be like, what are these graphics, right? It's just like anything design-wise now.
Right.
But I get it, like, especially with millennials, headquarters in Japan. So, but I mean, actually one of my cousins works for Nintendo. And so I think, one of the things I love is just the characters. I think like, you think of like Mario, Luigi, you think about those types of characters.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
The duck hunt. I almost said egg hunt. What an idiot.
Oh, the duck
hunt.
I forgot about that.
I loved playing Nintendo, and it's funny because I also had Sega Genesis, which I loved Sonic the Hedgehog and all that. But what's interesting, I was just going to say this as why it's hot, okay? Because it resonates with us as a kid, right? So as adults, we really like Nintendo. We got, just at the very beginning of COVID, Alex surprised me with the new but old Nintendo. So it's like the new version, but it looks just like the old one. And it was just really fun to play all of the games. And I think it's something that we look back at as adults at our childhood. And, he could have gotten any other gaming system out there. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff. And look at Wii, and look at Xbox and all of those things that came out maybe after we were children. And I think a lot of us are, just wanted to go back to that childhood Nintendo.
Yeah.
So,
well, what I remember, because I definitely play video games, and I still I don't play them as much as I used to, obviously, just with everything I got going on. So, but I remember growing up, like nowadays it's like kids play video games and they're by themselves, like they have the internet, right? So they can like listen to people, they can be. But I remember like growing up and being like having kids sleep over my house, and we would all be playing Nintendo, right? And we'd all be crowded around the TV. Even if you weren't playing, you were watching the other person play, right? And so it was like you said, it brings a lot of good memories back from childhood that make you connect. And I might not personally be loyal to Nintendo, but I could see where people are.
Yeah.
All right.
And you learn new things.
Another shoe brand, guys. We have number 11, Adidas.
Adidas.
So I'm not a huge Adidas fan. I have some, but I do remember, I know like in pop culture, the shell toe, which, like I said, this is going back to my shoe store days. The shell toe was a big shoe, right, that people love to wear.
Yep.
But when I think of Adidas, I don't think of more fashion. I think of more like sport. Like I'm going to go play sports, right? I'm not going to be like lounging around.
Right. Oh, I agree, because I played soccer, and Adidas was a lot of the pants, the rip-off pants, the warm-ups, and obviously cleats. They make a lot of sports cleats. Indoor, outdoor soccer shoes were all Adidas. I mean, you could get Nike, but for the most part, everyone had Adidas. And I think that for that sports side of thing in the soccer, and it's not just soccer. Obviously, there's other sports, but it's a European brand. So I think if you think of soccer, even when European. Soccer, football is so much more popular in Europe that I can understand coming there. But I think that there was a gap, in my opinion, that happened with Adidas from when we were younger till now.
Yeah.
Even just 5-10 years ago. I feel like they weren't really around for a little bit, and then they came back. And I think that they could do that because of their brand. I think that they do have probably, you know, famous athletes that are sponsors and stuff, you know, or sponsored. But yeah, I always loved Adidas for the sports.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, like the shoe that's the shoe that's pictured is, you know, just a regular shoe, but it has those 3 lines, right? That everybody recognizes.
Right, the 3 lines. Yeah, and on the pants, that runs down the pant leg, it runs down the shirt leg. Like that was the sign that you were wearing Adidas. Like, yeah.
It's a good solid brand. I get it. I get it. So, but we're cracking the top 10, guys. So coming in at number 10 is Google. So I guess in the picture it's got Google Mail, but I'm assuming just everything Google, right? And so, I mean, we grew up with this brand, right? Like if you're going to search something on the internet, you're not saying, hey, I'm going to go search the internet for the top 20 things that millennials like. I'm going to go Google it, right?
Right.
So what are your thoughts behind Google? And
I mean, they created the brand of search engine. I mean, you're not saying I'm going to Bing it, I'm going to Yahoo it, I'm going to, whether it's Firefox or Safari, whatever operating system you're using. I'm going to Google it. And they did such a great job creating this brand that it is now the industry standard terminology of what we're looking up on the internet, even though they're not the only platform. There's other search engines. They basically made themselves the top, and it's for them, it's great. I think for us and the brand, us loving the brand itself is because we love technology and we love getting quick answers and we love the internet. So I think anything that has to do with a main source of us getting information and connecting with people, and educating ourselves, we're gonna love it, right?
Yeah.
So see, it's essential. It's not just the apps, but the idea of us looking stuff up. It's become essential. Look.
Yeah, I mean, businesses depend on it. With Google Ads and stuff like that, and the whole optimizing. And
it revolves around the internet. We love the
internet. So that's probably why it cracked the.
It is the internet. No,
yeah. I remember the days before Google, right? We all, for us, some of us millennials, we definitely remember dial-up, and so Google was not really around at that time. So, but it would have been interesting. Right. But all right, so moving right along, looky, I told you, I kind of gave you a little snippet, right? And so coming in at number 9, Coca-Cola. So definitely a brand. When I did drink a lot of soda, was Coca-Cola. My wife definitely likes Coca-Cola. She still drinks Coke Zero from time to time. But it's even in just regular terminology. Like if you're like, hey, if you're at a bar, right? You're never gonna say, give me a rum and Pepsi. Right, you're gonna say, "Give me a rum and Coke," right, or Coke. Bourbon.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the color, right? The writing, the script writing. Definitely, a lot of people are loyal to this brand. What are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, and the old Coke glasses. How they used to come, even probably when our parents were younger. It hasn't been that long ago that they used to only come in those glass. Even I think when we were little, they could come like that and they were more known, and you could get them out of vending machines and that cute little glass. But it's definitely the label. My mom, loved Diet Coke. So growing up, I was drinking Diet Coke, but not a lot. And I don't drink soda hardly at all, unless it's club soda in my Tito's. But I do here and there crave a carbonation like a Diet Coke, but I actually go for Dr. Pepper, which is a Pepsi brand. So, but I think it goes along a lot of those lines. You look at Christmas, you look at Santa Claus and Coca-Cola, how they branded. They have a lot of that neat, really Santa and Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So and it's look at it goes back to also the history. I think with Americans and how long things have been around and the brands have been around, and the history of also where they've been at in the community. And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just says a lot about your childhood. I mean, like I think about going to the movie theater, getting a big thing of popcorn. You got your Coke, you're ready to go for the movie, right? Sure. So they've done a really good job of interjecting themselves into other segments of the market that are just not like.
Sure. I mean, and you have sports. You have so much about sports and stadiums and movie, like you even said, movie theaters, places where you're either Coke or you're Pepsi. They try to get in with these stadiums. You know, it's only Pepsi there. It's only that, and I think it's huge. But I thought about this because one of the things that millennials really do like are about health benefits and reading labels and stuff about natural ingredients and all those things. But when you go back to it, soda is not good for you and all the sugars that are in it. But just think of how nobody cares that it's not good for you. Everyone, if they love it, they love it. They're going to drink it. There is addicting aspects of aspartame and all these things that are in it that also cause issues with weight and all this. But it's just, look how, even though soda's not good for you, how much it's lasted and how much still it is such a huge brand between the Coke and the Pepsi and soda in general, that even though it's not really healthy, it's huge marketed and brand. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's a huge brand. Will probably never go away, but that one's in Atlanta, Georgia, if you guys didn't know. Oh, here we go. So number 8, Microsoft. So Microsoft is big for me. I definitely like Microsoft over. I know you use your Apple. You have probably Apple products, right? But and that makes a lot of sense because you do a lot of design work, so it's really good for that. Right. But I just for most people, I feel like Microsoft is just one of those brands that it's like the first, right? It was like one of the first ones to do it. Right. So what are your, I know you use your iOS. What are your thoughts on Microsoft?
I'm not the best to speak to the Microsoft brand, but I do think as if I had a PC, I would I would definitely understand that. But I think from what I've seen in the Microsoft Office platform, and in this picture here, you see the Microsoft Surface. It's their version of the tablet and the iPad and all those things. They have really come out with some great things, and I think they were first on the touch screens and doing different things that they're innovative 100% with what they're doing. But I think you're right. I think Microsoft was definitely one of the first brands that we associate with computers too.
Yeah, and we're going to get to the other juggernaut in the industry here in a second. But for me, like what I remember, and this is just my personal opinion on this brand, when you think of like Apple, and I have both Apple and Microsoft, so full disclosure, I use both products. But when you think of Microsoft, you think of like the working person, right? You think of like somebody that's like working in an office setting, stuff like that. When you think of Apple, you think of more like, hey, design, creativity. Microsoft's like production, like
and that's their brand.
Yeah,
definitely.
All right, so moving on to number 7, Walmart. Walmart is a big brand apparently with millennials.
Oh man.
So there are some good things at Walmart. Obviously, there are some, depending on what Walmart you go to, it can be very interesting. But I think Walmart is an amazing brand just because of what they're able to do, what they're able to offer their clientele. It's great prices, good quality product, just like Aldi, like we were talking about earlier. But it's just like that one-stop shop that you can get everything, right? Food, everything that you need. So what's your thoughts on Walmart?
Oh, I think Walmart created such a brand with low cost, and they cater to everyone. I think it's not just people that are looking to, spend less or don't have as much. But I think that they offer so many products and so many different brands, and they do say low price. They have things that even the brands that are there, even I don't know, I don't shop there necessarily for clothing, but I think that their clothing is very affordable and lower price. And I think going in that you'll more than likely find everything that you need. Like if you need something and you're not sure where to get it, Walmart, let's go to Walmart. You can pick up a couple of these things. And then they have the groceries. And I think that there's a lot with camping. And, I think that it caters to such a wide audience too. And that it's convenient. Yeah. I mean, I think, it's convenient for everyone that if you're what you're looking for. But they're online too. I think a lot of people shop online at Walmart even because they have so much stuff. You can get everything while you're there.
Yeah.
Too.
And there's probably, I haven't looked this far, but I'm sure there's another store that's comparable to Walmart, probably in the remaining part of this.
Yes, I have a feeling.
That definitely has a cultural like following.
Yes.
But Walmart's
I think it's just the cost.
Yeah, I think Walmart's a great brand, and then they also have like the Costco like store, whatever, Sam's Club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean that definitely speaks to a segment of the millennial population, but just people in general. It's a big brand. All right, number 6, another product technology, Sony, coming in at number 6. I am not a huge Sony fan personally. Except for the one product that they do make, and I might be able to speak to it a little bit more. It's PlayStation, right?
PlayStation, yeah. I was waiting to hear, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So obviously, there's another one made by Microsoft actually called Xbox, but and there's a big divide there between millennials. Is which system's better, right? Is it the Xbox or is it the PlayStation? So, but they make TVs and and phones, I believe.
Yeah, but man, the Sony was the brand for me, at least, of my cassette player and my Discman. Sony Discman, right? Like that was Walkman. I'm sorry. And then I mean, so when you think about the brand as a child, Sony for us has been there for sure when it comes down to a lot of the way that we listen to our music. Why did I say Discman? Is there a Discman?
I don't know, Walkman. But I know there's a Walkman because I have one.
Yeah, and I think that was our way of taking music on the go and having a place to listen to that music with the headphones and stuff. That was huge. So. That brand definitely resonates with me. I'm seeing if there's a Discman, but I'm definitely I'm just making this up. It is the Discman. Okay, that was the disc. So the Walkman was the cassette, and the Discman. I feel like an idiot now that but I knew what I was talking about. But yeah, so I think that for me, that brand was. I listened to a lot of music. When I was in Japan, when I was 13 years old, I was homesick, and I put a Faith Hill CD. On my Discman, and I fell asleep to it, and that's huge. I think.
Yeah,
for memory, when you were. I
definitely remember the big one for Sony for me is PlayStation. That's the gaming system that I really, as a kid, remember playing a lot, especially with my friends, and so I definitely remember that coming out and being all crazed about that. And then I still have one today. I still have a PlayStation today. Like I said, I don't play it as often as I once did, but still very, very.
Yeah, and I think they make, I remember too, they make cameras. So I had a couple digital cameras that were Sony. So yeah, I think I don't necessarily have anything right now. So I can't say that I've been loyal because I don't have anything, but the brand itself.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to number 5. And there it is, one of the big ones, Amazon. I'm a little surprised it's only 5, but we'll see what the next 4 are. But I mean, nowadays, Amazon's basically in my mindset, has killed a lot of different segments of the business world, right? I mean, whether it be, books, whether it be anything.
Stores, stores have gone out of business. Chain stores have gone out of business, but a lot of small independently owned stores too.
Yeah. But also Amazon has given the ability for the small-time guy who owns a small-time business to actually use, right? And get their products out there too. So it is a double-edged sword, but to say the least. But
I think the brands overall, the brand itself and what they've been known for and what they do, that you can order something and as the Prime get it the next day and you don't have to leave your house it was never done before. That you could have almost anything that you wanted delivered to you, and I think the company, the distribution, they have created so many jobs, even though they've put some businesses out, like you're saying, a double-edged sword. These delivery drivers and the distribution centers and the call centers and the people. It has created a lot, but the brand itself, you can return it. You can return it. I think that they've made everything easy to use.
We're forgetting the elephant in the room. I don't want to say her name too loud because you might hear me, but Alexa, she might
sure
when I say.
And that brand, you're right. Amazon Basic created their brand. They have their own brand, Amazon Basics, and that is insane. Our cameras, like the security, and you're right. They're Amazon. I think they're watching me all the time, even though the light's not on. I think they're listening and watching.
They're listening to all the brands we're talking about, and I promise you, when we get here and we're scrolling through Facebook, at least half of these brands will pop up, right? That's just the way of the world now. But yeah, big brand. It's taken over the world. Not only just, there's just so many things that they're going to be able to do that other people just can't. So look at that 1 hour delivery for Prime service members. They'll even deliver your food. I did hear, and I don't know how much truth is behind this, but Amazon's going to actually create its own grocery store because they bought Whole Foods, where you just walk in. There's no cash register. You just walk in, you pick up all your stuff, you walk out, and it charges your Amazon account.
How do they know that you put it in the cart? You have to scan it?
No, there's like when you go to the hotels and stuff like that, and you pick something up and it automatically charges when you pick it up and put it into your cart.
Oh, so they know that the cart is so close to that item that item is being put into that cart. This is sick. This is sick. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it because we're heading in that direction. And I just want to say this. I don't want to get off track, but I heard this week that because of the shutdown and because of quarantine and COVID and all the technology that had to happen, we were forced to do because of this, that the world has progressed 7 years with technology in the shutdown.
I believe it.
We should do a podcast about this. No.
We should. For another topic for another day, right? Oh, here it is. I knew it was coming up. Number 4.
How are you? Target.
Target. I like Target. I know my wife is like, hey, I'm going to go to Target. Like when we moved to our home, she was so excited that we were 5 minutes away from a Target, right? Yep. Like you go into Target, and if you come out of Target without buying something seriously went wrong.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's crazy to think about, it's a huge brand with us. And it's got Starbucks in there. You have the Target card where you can save, what is it, 5%, 10%, something like that?
I don't know. See, I don't have a Target card. I don't have any credit cards. You should know.
They have a Target debit card that ties to your debit account that you can swipe there, and you get 5 or 10% off of your bill.
It goes back to the brand. Like you want to have a Target card, and I think even just in this picture here too, that bullseye, that Target logo, is on everything. Obviously, their bags and stuff, but even the employees, they're wearing a red shirt and khaki pants. You know, they have a brand even for their uniforms in a sense that not everyone has, but they have standard things. I think the brands that they sell at Target, when it comes down to different designers, and they have their own brands, obviously, but I think that they sell a lot of great brands at Target still that are well-known brands. So
there it goes. Why it's hot. Target's owns the intersection between style and affordability. So
yeah,
I have a lot of Target-based clothes and stuff like that. They're great quality. Yeah. They're not overly expensive, and
I haven't done as much shopping that I used to years and years ago, but I do get all my bathing suits from Target because they let you mix and match the top and the bottom.
Well, there you go, guys. Little plug for Target right now, even though they don't need help because they're at number 4. But number 3, so we're rounding the bend here, guys. Number 3, Samsung. Interesting. Okay, I'm I don't think I've ever owned a Galaxy phone or a tablet, but I have Samsung TVs and stuff like that, but not a big brand for me. What about you?
No, not for me either. I think I associate TVs and the Galaxies, but I never had them, so for me it hasn't been a big one either.
Yeah, and there's a reason why, because there's still a big brand coming up that definitely fights with this brand a lot. There's big, Android versus we'll get into that other brand here in a second, but we'll move right along from that. Look at that. Number 2, Nike. Makes a lot of sense, right?
Right.
Nike's a huge brand with everybody, not just millennials, but you see the Nike check mark. I have it on my shirt here. You think about the do it, just do it type of thing. So, right there it says Nike is is the go-to brand, right? So what do you think? I know you were Adidas, but yeah.
Yeah, I think for sure. I have a pair of running, they're really running like pants, but I don't run, so I use them for working out, but workout pants. And it has a huge Nike on the side. They're orange, and it's got this huge white Nike and the swoosh. And I think that it's definitely still for sport. I think sports and different sports use different. More, like we said, Adidas, I felt like was more soccer, but I think I think that it's huge for the running community and workout, and even in bar and yoga and all that. I think they still make a lot of that, and it's comfortable and it's quality, and I think that it's definitely a brand that looks good. They have some really cool, like the aesthetics of it. We want stuff that looks cool, that looks pretty, that stands out, and I think that is a huge thing too.
Yeah, and then it just has to deal with too, like the people that wear it, that you associate with, right? Athletes. It just screams, athletics, yeah. Right? And so it might not be a brand for every millennial, because not every millennial wants to go out and run and stuff like that. But for most, they associate with this brand just because it's Nike.
And then they only buy Nike running shoes. They again, I'm not a runner, but
yeah, I like Nike shorts, right? I love the little jogger jacket that she has on in the picture,
right?
And stuff like that. So when I'm not dressed up, for work, I'm wearing something along this lines, right? Because it's comfortable, right, like you said, but it's also good workout gear. So
right,
great brand from Oregon.
Number 1.
So we're gonna get to number 1 right here, right now, guys. It is surprise, Apple. Apple is the number 1 brand that millennials have voted on. Yeah. It's no surprise right?
I'm grabbing all my stuff. Like, don't have my Apple Watch on, but you know, definitely grabbing all of these. Well, everyone knows, obviously, I'm very Apple.
Within your ear too, right? You have. Yeah. So.
But these are a Christmas present because if everyone knows that you know, Apple products are not cheap. So I think for a while too, I mean, you know, you can only afford certain things. So this was a gift, which I really appreciate. But yeah, I think for graphics alone, and that's how I started into Apple was, you know, when I was in college, starting in 2003, it was just such a brand better for graphics and the things that I was doing. And I just fell right in. And when I had the laptop forever, and then I got the iMac, the phone just synced. They created, with their brand, they created just that, that sync with everything. It can be all together. So,
yeah. I mean, what I love about Apple, especially, is that it's simplicity, right? Like, it's very simple. A lot of the products don't require you to be like, I feel like a lot of those other, you know, like the Samsungs and the other things of the world, they're like, they're more for like the techie people, whereas like Apple is more for the everyday person, right? It's very easy to use.
Right.
The products connect to each other so seamlessly. The only thing I don't have Apple wise is a computer. Other than that, I watch. The phone. I have an Apple phone. I got introduced to Apple. I think the first main product they had was what was it called? The music thing.
The iPod.
Yeah, the iPod. It was like this big, it was like that thick. Like, it was huge.
Sure. I mean, that was they had the Nano. They had everything that you could listen to music, and that was big. That you know, I think that they're always evolving. They're always coming out with things that are better and user friendly, and they're obviously, everyone's watching us, so they know what you know, and what could be easier and what could be better, and they're definitely always trying to make things that are you know, more convenient and easier for us all. But it's a clean. I think when you think of the brand itself and the way that the things look, they're sleek, they're clean. You know, they're a lot of the stuff that's white just looks fresh, and it's part of, I think, everything. You know, you see that Apple on anything, and you're, of course. So that's number one, Apple.
Yeah. So there it is,
that's
guys.
Exciting. I am a loyal Apple millennial, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. And like I said, I couldn't imagine using a different phone even for everything that I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so guys, what we can do is definitely, I'll post in the comment section, I'll post the link to this article. So if you want to see the other 80 brands that we didn't go over, you're more than welcome to do that.
Yeah. Was there, real quick, was there any that you definitely would throw in real quick?
So obviously they hit a lot of my favorite brands. I'm trying to think if they're, what about you? Give me a chance.
I was going to say Yeti, because I got into it obviously because of Alex, but it has become it is a lifestyle brand in my opinion, but a lot of my friends really have gotten into Yeti because of the quality that goes behind it, that they have been targeting a lot to millennials. And I think that it starts to become an Yeti obsession. So I think that brand is, for us, is huge. We have them for different sizes, different colors, to-goes, and that's become something that it's more of a lifestyle. We want that. Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily have one. I feel like most of those brands were spot on for me, with the exception of a couple of them, but nothing that glaring that comes out to me. If there is something, I'll make sure to comment on it, put it in the comment section. But
I think those are great.
I think they were definitely great. So, but I know we've went a little bit long, right, than we normally do. We can definitely either go right into the millennial meme, or we could, if you'd like to share a couple tips and tricks for maybe a non-millennial to market to millennials, we can do that as well.
I think we talked a little bit about it during. I think that the branding is so important for any business, for any event, for any even your individual brands. I think that as we can see with all these examples, it shows what's memorable, how to be loyal, that we are loyal. And I think that it goes back to transparency, being honest, making sure that you're following through with what you say you do with your brand, and being honest and don't making false claims. I think in just holding up behind your, all the standards of your brand and following through, but making sure that you have a presence on social media. Everyone wants to be able to see what you're doing. They want to go onto your website. They want to go on your social media. They want to be able to review. They want to be able to complain. I mean, there's definitely, make sure that you have a presence, and that you're out there in the community as well. But we just like stuff that also looks professional, but you have great graphics. Obviously, that's what I do. But that everything should communicate your mission and your brand and the things that you stand behind, and your brand's efficacy. It should follow out with the graphics. So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, if you want more information on how to brand properly, you can always reach out to Mel offline.
Sure.
A little shameless plug for you, okay?
This is true.
There is one brand. I just thought about it. I'm wearing it. It's behind me. It's a brand that I associate with, and it's a college, University of Alabama. So we're playing this weekend, so that's a good thing. But, yeah, so there's a brand that's I'm very loyal to that brand.
There's tons of brands. Like, post your brands. I mean, it could be chocolate. It could be Hershey's.
That is a good one. How did Hershey's not crack the top 20?
No. I mean, maybe for us here in Pennsylvania and the Hershey area. But there's so many different brands that.
Yeah, but for chocolate, I mean, most
definitely
people,
Hershey's.
Yeah. You're gonna, obviously there's tons of great chocolate where we're at in Pennsylvania, but like I said. But anyways, sure. I think it's that time for the millennial meme of the week, and I think it was my turn, right? Or was it your turn?
It's definitely your turn.
Yeah, it was my turn. Just making sure. So I'm gonna pop it up. So it's pretty funny, and it has a lot to do with brand, right? Brand is everything, especially in the millennial world. So it's brand versus off-brand. So,
okay. I love this.
So it's two, for those that can't see, it's going to be the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes versus the Frosty Corn Flakes that you get at your local grocery store. The brand, when you think of Kellogg's, they're great, and then versus the Frosty Corn
Tony the Tiger
saying they all right. So
they all right.
But they all right, right?
I love them.
So
it's all about the brand. It's all about the brand,
I mean,
he's in a ripped tiger scratch red vest instead of that Tony the Tiger bandana there, but that's great. So
I thought that was a perfect one for what today was about, and so it was fun. Like I said, I know we went a little bit longer than we normally do, but like I said, we wanted to share some brands with you guys. But anyways, guys, hopefully you got some value out of today. If you did, just let us know. Give us a like. Share this with some family and friends. Right? Go like our page. All that great stuff. Just go do it all. Right? Just everything. Just like it all.
Everything. Share it. Share our brand. Share the MillenniYell brand.
Yes. But it's also that time, maybe a new segment. Maybe we'll have something pop up here eventually. But it's a Mel moment. So Mel, it's that time of the podcast where you give us some advice. You leave us with something lasting that we could take into the weekend. So what do you got for us today?
The Mel's millennial moment. Did you see that I had that started well before you and I?
And I didn't.
And I just forgot about it.
And
we had great minds think alike. Let's coin it. So my moment, sure. We haven't shared this, but Billy and I will be seeing each other again tomorrow for another Why Not wine party. But I'm excited for that. But there's a lot going on when we're working full time and we have a lot of other commitments. And then we try to do things with our social lives and all this and to put it all together and have that integration flow. And I think that for me and for everybody that's juggling a lot with everything going on, I think we should just be able to try to adapt and be able to plan. I had some changes of plans in our party and some things that have come up, and sometimes it's not easy. So when things do come up, just try to go with the flow a little bit and find the silver lining and the positivity of it, and know that everything's gonna still work out and everything will be okay. And we're all gonna have a good time and take. It's going to be a great, beautiful weekend and a beautiful day. So we'll be outside socially distanced, and we can't wait to show you some pictures and share some of the fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. But like I said, guys, make sure you do, because we're going to do it, right? We're going to do it this weekend. We're going to make some great memories with our family and our friends. So you make sure you do the exact same thing. Take some time, make some memories, do something fun. Maybe put down your Apple phone or your Samsung
or your Samsung
if you're a Samsung user. But make sure you take some time today, tomorrow, on Sunday to really focus on you and get better at whatever you're going to want to do in your life. So anyways, guys, we do appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.